Welcome to students. Today we are going to discuss about the next point of the chapter, that is the hazardous waste management. In last video lecture we have to see the biomedical waste management, importance of biomedical waste management, and also the various methods of the biomedical waste management. In this chapter we have to see the same thing, that is the hazardous waste management and importance, also various methods. Okay, let's have start. Then first point is the definition. Any residues or combination of residues other than radioactive waste which by reason of its chemical reactivity or toxic, explosive, corrosive or other characteristics causes potential hazard to human or environment either alone or when a contact with other waste, which therefore cannot be handled, stored, transported, treated or disposed of without special precautions. This hazardous waste management or hazardous is nothing but it is a combination of the various residues other than the radioactive waste, which by the reactions or reasons of the to reaction with the chemical reactivity or toxic, explosive or corrosive and other characteristics causes, it's a very harmful to the human as well as the environment also, and it's also it is harmful to alone and when the contact with the other waste, which therefore cannot be handled or stored, transported, treated, or any controlling of the without we have to taking the special precautions. Next, various sources of the hazardous waste hazardous is inorganic and organic chemicals, petroleum refineries, iron and steel, non-ferrous metal, leather tanning, and metal finishing. The various sources are forming the hazardous waste, that is the first biggest or major source is the inorganic and organic chemicals. Second one is the petroleum refineries. Third one is the iron and steel. Fourth one is the non-ferrous metal. Next, fifth one is the leather tanning, and sixth is the metal finishing. The hazardous waste is the classification there are the four classification. First is the ignitability, that's the ignitable waste. Porosity, is the corrosive waste. Third classification, reactivity, it's reactive waste. And fourth classification is toxicity, it's toxic waste. The hazardous waste is the classification four classifies the ignitability, porosity, reactivity, and toxicity. Is all the wastes. Next is the rules and regulations of the hazardous waste. The first is the aim to providing control. It's important. It's important rules or regulations to controlling the waste. Next, specify the responsibilities. Regulations governing generators of hazardous waste, that is the preparation for transport. Second, manifest requirements. Third, record keeping and reporting. This all their government or local or government its responsibility is the preparation of for the transport or various waste. The second is the manifest the requirements, and third one is the record the keeping and reporting. Next is the regulation governing transporters of hazardous waste is the notification prior to transport, manifest requirements. That is the regulation of the hazardous waste is the notification prior to transport, and second one is the manifest requirement. Next, storage of hazardous waste. The first is the cradle to grave concept. The hazardous waste generated as source requires the movement by trucks to further the transportation is generated to source of the requires the movement of the movement by trucks. Next, requires serious care and attention while the moving. At the time of the transport, it's a very necessity or require the serious seriously taking the and also attention at the time of the transportation. Next, hazardous waste to be properly packed and labeled for transport to ensure safe handling. It is also important to at the time of the transportation is properly packed or sealed and also labeled for the transport to ensure the safe handling. Next, storage facilities are used to store waste temporarily before treatment and disposal. It's also important at the taking the precaution at the transportation in the transportation. The storing the facilities are used to store waste temporarily before the treatment and disposal. Next, hazardous waste management strategy. The objective is to what is the objective of hazardous waste is the first objective is waste minimization, detoxification and neutralization of waste by treatments, destruction of combustible waste by incineration, solidification of sludge and ash from steps from 2 and 3, disposal of residues in landfills. This is the various objectives for the hazardous waste management strategy. The first major or important is objective is waste minimization to control or prevent or minimize the waste. Second one is objective is the detoxification and also neutralization of the waste by the treatment. With the help of the treatment, we have to control or controlling the toxic acid and neutralization of the waste. Also, third one is the destruction of the combustible waste by the incineration. We have to use the various incineration methods to destruction the combustible waste. Third one is the solidification of sludge and ash from steps from 2 and 3. And last one is the is proper disposal of the residues in the landfills. This is the objective of the hazardous waste management strategy. Next, waste minimization. First objective, it helps in resource conservation, economic efficiency and environmental protection. The waste minimization it is a help to resource the conservation, economic efficiency and also environment protection. The strategies include the source reduction, recycling and waste exchange. In this strategy, we have to including the source reduction or reduction in the waste and also recycling the waste and waste exchange. Waste exchange is also reuse or reduce. Next, treatment methods. We have to treatment various methods. That is the first is the physical method, chemical method, and biological treatment method. We treatment the as a is first is a physically in the physical we have to treatment the in solid waste also liquid waste. In a second one is chemical waste. We have to in this treatment we have to use treatmenting the various chemical liquid treatment and also in third one is the biological treatment. In the biological treatment we have to get the biomedical waste management using to prevent and controlling the waste. Next, physical treatment involves variety of separation techniques. We have to separate or segregation the variety of the waste. Next, whenever the waste containing liquid and solid must be treated, we have to separating the liquid and solid waste at the time of the treatment. Next, physical processes are screening, sedimentation, centrifugation, flotation, absorption, stripping, and RO, reverse osmosis. We have to in the physical process we have to done the first is the screening the waste, next sedimentation, the waste, next the centrifugation, next flotation, next adoption and next stripping and last one is the RO. We all this process are done in the physical treatment. Next, in chemical treatment, to make the complete breakdown of the hazardous waste into non-toxic form, because we have to complete breakdown, or we have to completely prevent or controlling the hazardous waste into the non-toxic form. To reduce the hazard of particle waste, we have to reduce the hazard of the particle waste. The chemical methods are the neutralization, precipitation, oxidation, and reduction. In the chemical treatment, we have to use the various processes such as the neutralization, precipitation, oxidation, and last one is the reduction methods. Next, in the neutralization, we have to carry out the when waste contains excessive amount of acid or alkali. We have to done this neutralization methods or process when the in the waste are contains the excessive amount of the acid or alkali present. Second, chemical oxidation is used to destroy the toxic cyanide molecules with the oxidizing agents. In the reduction method, it is the conversion of hexavalent chromium into trivalent chromium before it can be precipitated. And last is the anodic electrolysis. It is used for the destruction of cyanide in spent stripping and plating solution. This is we have to use the various methods for the to controlling the hazardous waste. Next, biological treatment. Different types of microorganisms are used for the degradation of specific compounds of hazardous waste. Some microbes found in the soil and sewage sludge have been tested in the degradation of organic chemicals. This biological treatment is very useful for the at the waste coming from the is the farming or agriculture. Also, it is the sewage, or it is useful for the as the to control the soil pollution and sewage pollution. And in the it is found that the in soil and sewage sludge it have been tested the degradation of the organic chemicals. The tests have been conducted to decrease the PCBs using Pseudomonas and Flavobacterium. In Pseudomonas bacteria, that is the benzene, phenol, and cresol. This is the we have to done, or we have to controlling the hazardous waste with the use of the biological treatment. Third one is the incineration, able to achieve 99.99% destruction and remove efficiency of hazardous components in waste. It is achieve the highest treatment or highest range compared to other methods, that is almost 99.99% destruction and removal the efficiency hazardous to components in the waste. Primary products are CO2, vapor, and ash. The primary products is the CO2, vapor, and ash. Sulfur bearing waste gives off SO2, CO2, H2O when incinerated. Byproducts of incomplete combustion are sometimes more harmful. There are two types of the incineration: liquid injection system and rotary kilns. That is, we have to use the two types of the incineration for the treatment, hazardous treatment. The first one is the liquid injection system and second one is the rotary kilns. Fourth one is the solidification and stabilization. Is convert the waste into the insoluble rock hard material. Additive materials used to reduce the mobility of pollutants in the waste. Certain materials like nickel cannot be destroyed or detoxified by above methods. The residues that are left out are solidified to reduce the leachability. Next, here in this picture we have to see the various hazardous materials we have to done the treatment. Last one is the disposal methods. The option for disposal include the land disposal, underground disposal, and deep well injection. We have to disposing the waste in the using the various methods, that is the land disposal, underground disposal, and also deep well injection. The choice of disposal method should be based on the evaluation of economics and potential pollution risk. It's all the depending on the which type of the or which methods we have to use for the disposing. It's total depending on the economics and also potential pollution risk, that is the environment issues. To prevent the environmental pollution from landfills, it is essential to that site cross section are taken into account. To prevent or to avoid the environmental pollution from the landfills, we have to essential site to taken for the into the account or disposal methods. Okay, the last point of this topic is the thermal pollution. The first is the introduction. The thermal pollution, it is the harmful increases in the water temperature in streams, rivers, lakes, and occasionally coastal ocean waters. The thermal pollution, it is a very harmful to increasing the water treatment in the also the streams, rivers, lakes, and coastal ocean waters. It is a degradation of water quality by any process that changes ambient water temperature. Next, a temperature increase as small as the 1 or 2 Celsius degree, about 2 to 4 Fahrenheit degrees, can kill the native fish, shellfish, plants, and drive them out the favor on the other species, often with the undesirable effects. Due to the temperatures increases, it is also it's small as the 1 to 2 degrees Celsius only. It can the kill the native fish, shellfish, and plants also, and also it is the favor the other species, often with undesirable effects. Next, what is the causes of the thermal pollution? The major source of thermal pollution are electric power plants and industrial factories. The major causes of the thermal power plants are forming in the electric power plants and also industrial factories. The another cause of the use of water as a coolant by power plants and industrial manufacturers. When water used as a coolant plant return it to the natural environment at higher temperature, the change in temperature decreases oxygen supply and affects ecosystem composition. When we use the water as for the coolant purposes or coolant industries, that the it's the water returned to natural environment at the higher temperature, and it's changing the temperature or its reaction the decreases the oxygen supply, and it affects to ecological or ecosystem composition. When power plant first opens or shut down for repair or other causes, fish and other organisms adapted to particular temperature range can be killed by the abrupt change in water temperature, as known as the thermal shock. When they start the power plant or shut down the power plant, and it's or for the purposes the repairing or other causes or maintenance purposes, that time this the fish and other organisms are present in the aquatic or water is out of the particular temperature changes, it's killed to change the temperature water temperature is known as the thermal shock. Another cause is the streams and small lakes are naturally kept cool by trees and other tall plants are to block sunlight. People often remove this shading vegetation in order to harvest the wood in the trees to make the room for crops or to construct the buildings, roads, and other structures. The another causes of the thermal pollution to we have to cutting the trees. So we have to for the purposes or various purposes we have to use this wood for the room for crops and or to construct the buildings, roads, and other structures. Next, even the removal of vegetation for far away from the stream or lake can contribute the thermal pollution by spreading of the erosion of soil into the water and making the muddy. Also, it is the cause of the at the time of the removal of the vegetation far away from the stream or lake. It's a contribute the thermal pollution, or it's a forming the thermal pollution by the spreading of the erosion of the soil into the water, and it causes the making the muddy. Next, what is the impact of thermal pollution? The all plants and animal species that lives in water are adapted to temperatures with certain range. Its first impact or its a major impact to the plants and animal species in the lives in water or in the aquatic life is directly adapted due to the suddenly changes of the water temperature. Next, this can harm aquatic animals such as fish, amphibians, and other aquatic organisms. Thermal pollution may also increase the metabolic rate of aquatic animals as enzyme activity, resulting in these organisms consuming more food the shorter time than if their environment were not changed. It is also very affected to the aquatic animals such as the fish, amphibians, and other aquatic organisms also. Some organisms do thrive the warm water often with undesirable effects. Uh, Algae and other plants grow more rapidly in warm water than the cold, but they also die more rapidly. Is another some organisms do drive the or to thrive the in warm water. It is live the in warm water often with undesirable effects, but the algae and other plants are the grow or growing the more rapidly in the warm water compared to cold water, but it's also they also died in more rapidly. Next, primary producers are affected by warm water because of higher water temperature increases plant growth rates, resulting in shorter lifespan and species over pollution. It is also impact to the primary producer of the affected to warm water or high water temperature because of increases the plant growth rates, and it's also resulting the shorter lifespan and species or pollution. Next, temperature changes even 1 to 2 degrees Celsius can cause us significant changes in organism metabolism and other adverse cellular biology effects. Principal adverse changes include the rendering cells walls less permeable to necessary osmosis, coagulation of cell protection, and alteration of enzyme metabolism. If the changes the water temperature even 1 to 2 degrees Celsius only, it's significant the changes the organism metabolism and also other adverse cellular biological effect. Next, how to control the thermal pollution. The thermal pollution from power plants and factories is relatively easy to control. And instead of discharging heated water into lakes and streams, the power plants and factories can pass the heated water through cooling towers and cooling ponds, where evaporation cools the water before it is discharged. It is a very simple method to high temperature water we have to use or to convert it to cool water with the using of the cooling plants or cooling towers, and then we have to discharge this cooling water or cold water to the directly lake or river. Next, alternative power plants can be designed or repeated to more efficient to produce less waste heat to it in the first place. Alternate arrangement we have to the power plants we have to designing or repeat it to more efficient and produce the less heat waste heat in the first place. Next, in the United States or US, about 75 to 82% thermal pollution is generated by power plants. The remainder is from industrial sources such as the petroleum refineries, pulp and paper mills, chemical plants, steel mills, and smelters. Heated water from these sources may be controlled with the following methods. It's in the US, the almost about the 75 to 82% of the thermal pollution is generated by the only power plants, the thermal power plants. And its remainder is from the industrial sources such as the various industrialization companies, that is the petroleum refineries, pulp, paper mills, chemical plants, steel mills, and melters also. And its heating water we have to controlling with the using the following method, that is the first cooling ponds, man-made bodies of water designed for cooling by evaporation, convection and radiation. Next, cooling towers which transfer waste heat to the atmosphere through evaporation and heat transfer. In the cooling towers, we had to transfer the waste heat to atmosphere through the evaporation or the heat transfer. Next, cogeneration, a process where waste heat is recycled for the domestic or industrial heating purposes. It's a cogeneration that we have to use this waste heat is recycling in the domestic or the industrial heating purposes. Next, the thermal pollution from the devegetation is quite hard to control because it is caused by cumulative effect of many people's action, most of which are individually minor. There should be implemented laws that will be help to control, conserve and protect resources to counter thermal pollution. We need to implement the law or strictly law with the help of the we have to helping the controlling the and controlling the heat water or high temperature water also conserve and protect resources to counter thermal pollution. As last is to prevent the thermal pollution due to devegetation, the prescription is simple: do not devegetate. All efforts to control erosion also have the effect of keeping water clearer and thus cooler. Okay, here I declare that the syllabus of the environmental engineering is completed. If any doubt related this subject, that is the environmental engineering, then you can contact me at any time or WhatsApp me. Thank you. Thank you so much.